scelte, e soprattutto ringrazio per la sua straordinaria generosità, anche perché è una decisione difficile per lo show, il controllo di volo di ieri. Ringrazio Alan Bari.
The idea was that when we finished the screenplay, then we were sure that it would be terrible because we didn't like it. And then, but it was far from terrible. It was really quite wonderful screenplay. But I never saw it again until he won the Night Academy Award when he was for the screenplay. So yes, it was not friendly. It was collaboration.
One of those highly successful, it's also very controversial. And the Turks are very official Turks.
They were. The worst, I think, in Holland, someone set light to the cinema. That was the worst thing that happened. Yeah, the Turkish people, they were upset. You know, I think it's the kind of film that I made with, it was only my second film, so perhaps, you know, there was a certain attitude from me which was, what I probably would make a different film if I made it now, but I'm very proud of the film. And we thought we were making a film about a particular legal system where the whole legalisation and kind of prison service sentences to get the drug in different countries. It was not really an attack on one country, it could have been set in a lot of different countries really. But I think that was really the biggest criticism that, you know, I probably should have put a couple of nice touches in there, which I didn't do. But you know, quite helpful.
Did you follow the book?
That was very loud. No, it didn't. I mean, what happened is it's interesting because Floyd, it's based on a true story. He leaves the prison, escapes from the prison, and then people want to buy the rights to him writing his story. So he wrote the book with a ghost writer, William Hoffer, and so that his real life story moves a little bit from actual truth just by the nature of the writing. And then Oliver Stone wrote this screenplay, so truth got moved a little again because of the dramatic reasons. And certainly when I made the film, I moved it yet again in my interpretation. So it was not a long way from the actual truth, but as in all films really, they take on a life of their own. And it's not a documentary. In the end, it's a fictional film based on a true story. That was, you know, how I approached it.
Was it hard?
And the stamina of a construction worker. And the problem is, too many of us get it the wrong way round. So that's my point.
Che tipo di esperienza è stata la regia di The Wall?
The Pink Floyd The Wall, are you talking about? It was probably the most miserable film I ever made. I didn't enjoy it. It was a conflict with Roger Waters of the Pink Floyd. And yet, oddly, I'm very proud of it, creatively. It's a very original film. A lot of it was spontaneous. I describe it as I didn't go to film school, so I describe it as my film school film. Probably the most expensive film school film in history. But it was, yeah, the problem with it was that, you know, it was a very successful record. That then was a very successful rock and roll theatre that then I made a film of, and then after the film, the record became even more successful. I think it's the third most successful album in history. And I think that, yes, it was the opposite to doing the commitments. The commitments was enjoyable, and in Pink Floyd the Wall was not. But I come back to the same thing. It's much nicer to have a happy environment to make a film, but it's not always necessary. Joseph Losey, the American film director, said, be very wary of cozy, happy sets, because sometimes cozy, happy sets can lead to very bad films. But on the other hand, conflict, out of conflict, can come original film, and I think that's the case of Pink Floyd The Wall. And it's still successful, and it still runs everywhere, so yeah, I'm quite proud of it, although I didn't enjoy making it at all.
Bloccato la polizia, ha cambiato il sistema di produzione, oggi è il presidente degli europei. Non tutti i registi sono così attenti a quello che succede ai loro colleghi. 2 parole su questo, grazie.
Well, thank you. Yes, I feel very strongly that directors' rights have to be fought for, and there is a camaraderie amongst directors which people don't realise, because the system makes us very competitive with one another. And then suddenly, when you meet with other directors, you realise we all have the same problems, and a lot of those problems have to be continually fought for. Even now, as we speak, the right of the authorship of movies, which is so different in Europe to the United States, where obviously the copyright on films is always owned by the studio. The truth is about directors, and the reason that we have to fight so much, particularly with regards to the rights of copyright, is that most directors, in order to get their films made, actually don't make very much money. Most directors. Maybe in Hollywood they do, but most directors in Europe, it's not a terribly well-paid job. And the way that you actually can make some money is if your film is good and people see it, is that the residuals and the part ownership of the copyright as the author is the way in which people make a living. And but for myself, I was the founder of the Directors Guild.
Proposta di 2 oncologi amanti tra l'altro del cinema, Galletta e Tomare, baresi, i quali propongono alla cinematografia e ai registi di mandare in onda degli spot antifumo prima e dopo la visione di determinati film, soprattutto diciamo a tutela della fascia adolescenti. Prima si diceva che la fruizione del cinema oggi è fattibile non solo nelle sale cinematografiche ma anche grazie ad internet. Pertanto c'è meno possibilità di controllo su chi fruisce diciamo, di alcuni film. Quindi la sua posizione oggi, a distanza di anni, sarebbe quella di diciamo, provare a ritoccare e ad eliminare delle scene di fumo o inserire degli spot all'interno della proiezione in sala, o è completamente discordato? Grazie.
Yeah, I don't know if I missed the translation of it. It went a bit dead, but fortunately. Smoking, you think you're talking? Yes, okay, because there's a big difference between smoke and smoking. Smoke is a way of diffusing the light, which we use, and we use, interestingly, we use incense that you see in a church, because that's, as they realised many, many centuries ago, is a very beautiful way to diffuse the light and create an atmosphere. When I first did, to give you an anecdote of that, when I first did Fame, we had been used to using this light in Europe, cinematographers, and the Americans didn't want the smoke from smoking incense. And they complained, the film crew called the union, and they stopped us using the smoke, which was incense from churches, because they said it was too damaging to people's health. So we thought, well, for about 500 years it's been damaging people's health, but American film crews didn't want that. So we couldn't use the smoke. That was a creative device. If you're talking about smoking, well, again, yes, I'm not a smoker. I was a smoker. I used to be a smoker. He is a smoker, I'd like to point out. So he has a different answer. And you know, would you use smoking in films now? Well, the answer is, again, if you see a film that's made in 1977, then it's a film of its time. And you don't go back and change things because of it. And I did a film, Angel Heart, where every scene that we started, Mickey Rourke would light up a cigarette. And you say, it would have been nice to be sponsored by Marlboro cigarettes. We would have made a lot of money, but we were not sponsored. But it's interesting because actors don't smoke so much now in life. Therefore, they don't smoke during the scene because Mickey Rourke, the nervousness of doing the scene made me automatically light up a cigarette, which is from a filmmaking point of view, anyone lighting a cigarette is just so difficult because it's terrible for continuity. It's the worst thing to have to match. So anyone who lights up a cigarette, I usually say no. But it's for the selfish, creative reasons, editing reasons. It's not for moral reasons. With regards to if you're on a moral crusade about smoking, yeah, they probably shouldn't be in films now. It is encouraging for young people, and if we can do anything to discourage it, then that's good. But regarding the films that were made in 1977, actually, if you look at the films made in Italy in 1930 and 1940, there's more smoke in there than anything. So I think it's a matter of, it's a sign of the times, really. I don't know if I've answered your question.
There was an attempt